there's a hard truth that doesn't get talked about enough. When World War II pushed entire populations to the edge, survival didn't come from stockpiles, expensive gear, or advanced systems. It came from simple, repeatable methods that worked every single day under pressure. Families who made it through weren't the ones with the most supplies. They were the ones who could keep producing, adapting, and stretching what little they had. And, well, one of the most overlooked tools behind that survival wasn't dramatic at all. It was small-scale, continuous food production built around systems like cold frames, kitchen gardens, and nutrient-dense staple crops. The reason this matters today is simple. Most modern preppers have drifted away from these proven methods, focusing more on storage than production. And honestly, history shows that's a dangerous imbalance. Let's break down what actually worked and how you can use it. This method worked because it produced food instead of just storing it. During World War II, people quickly learned that stored food has limits. No matter how carefully you ration, supplies eventually run out. What kept families going long-term was the ability to produce fresh food continuously, even in small amounts. Cold frames became one of the most effective tools for this. These were simple, low-built structures, often made from scrap wood and glass, that trapped heat and protected crops from cold weather. They allowed people to grow hardy greens well beyond the normal growing season, sometimes even through winter. The key advantage was consistency. Instead of relying entirely on what had been stored, families could harvest small amounts regularly. That steady supply made a huge difference over time. You can apply this directly. Build a basic cold frame using available materials. Position it where it gets maximum sunlight. Plant fast-growing greens like spinach or mustard. Water lightly and, monitor the temperature by opening or closing the lid. Within weeks, you'll have something you can harvest repeatedly. These systems thrived because they were simple enough to survive disruption. WWII conditions didn't allow for complex solutions. There was no room for systems that required constant inputs, specialized tools, or perfect conditions. The methods that lasted were the ones that could keep working even when things went wrong. Cold frames and small gardens fit that requirement. They didn't need electricity, fuel, or, advanced knowledge. People learned through practice, observation, and necessity. Modern prepping often overlooks this. There's a tendency to rely on gear or systems that assume stability. But when disruption happens, complexity becomes a weakness. Start simple. Focus on what you can maintain without outside support. A small, functional system that you understand is far more valuable than a large, complicated one that depends on ideal conditions. One of the smartest decisions people made during the war was choosing crops that produced quickly. They didn't have the luxury of waiting months for results. They needed food as soon as possible. That's why leafy greens, radishes, and similar crops became so common. They could be planted and harvested in a short time, providing immediate relief from food shortages. You can use this approach by selecting crops with short growth cycles. Plant them in stages so that as one batch is harvested, another is already growing. This creates a continuous supply rather than a single harvest. It's a simple shift, but it changes everything. Instead of waiting, You're always producing. This approach reduced dependence on unstable supply chains. WWII exposed how fragile supply systems can be. When transportation was disrupted or resources were redirected, access to food became unpredictable. Those who relied entirely on outside sources were left vulnerable. By producing even a portion of their own food, families gained a level of independence. They weren't completely insulated from hardship, but they had a buffer. The same principle applies today. Supply chains are efficient, but they're also complex and interconnected. That makes them vulnerable to disruption. A practical way to apply this is to combine storage with production. Keep basic reserves, but also build systems that can generate food over time. Even a small output reduces your reliance on external systems. You know, the real strength came from the mindset behind the method. What truly set World War II survivors apart wasn't just the tools they used. It was how they approached problems. They didn't wait for perfect conditions. No, they adapted quickly, worked with what they had, and focused on results. Cold frames, small gardens, and improvised solutions were all part of a larger mindset built around resilience. Folks paid attention to what worked and adjusted constantly. This, honestly, is where modern approaches often fall short. It's easy to prepare in theory, but without hands-on experience, those preparations can fail under pressure. So build the habit now. Grow something, even if it's small. Pay attention to how it responds to your environment. Learn through doing, not just planning. This proven method is ignored because it requires effort and consistency. There's a reason these techniques aren't as popular today. They require time, patience, and regular attention. They don't offer instant results or convenience, but that's exactly why they worked. During World War II, people didn't have the option to choose easier paths. They used what worked, regardless of how simple or demanding it was. And those methods proved themselves under the worst conditions. Today, convenience often takes priority over resilience. But when systems are tested, the same principles that worked then will apply again. The real lesson is about building systems that keep working when everything else stops. World War II survival wasn't about having the best tools. It was about having systems that could continue producing under pressure. Cold frames and small-scale food production provided that stability. They didn't solve every problem, but they created a reliable foundation. And that foundation made all the difference. If you take this seriously, start building your own systems now. Keep them simple, keep them functional, and keep them consistent. If you want more real, practical survival knowledge drawn from history, methods that worked when it mattered most, subscribe to Endgame Survival. Share this with someone who understands that true preparation isn't about having more. It's about knowing what actually works.